hands align. In red and white they always shine. With every pass it feels divine. Arsenal's on my mind. From hybrid days to Emirates grand, each match a symphony perfectly planned. With every goal we take our stand. Arsenal's on my mind.
Welcome back to the next episode of the Arsenal on My Mind podcast. As always, with you today is Mr. Spike and Mr. Sekijay after the game against Fulham. What's up, man?
Let's go.
The
The max is back.
mask is back indeed, man. What a game.
I mean, so much for we can't turn on the switch and turn it off. It seems like the switch has been turned on today.
It just took like freaking a month to turn it on.
Yeah. I mean, it took 35 games for Saka and Gyökeres to finally figure out how to play together.
Mm-hmm.
That they were even taking turns in giving each other assists.
Yep.
They looked really good together. They looked like they were enjoying playing with each other. So I guess they've made up.
Yeah,
from my conspiracy that there was a misunderstanding between them. But I think there were certain little pieces that were in the lineup this today that unlocked our offensive prowess, and I think I'll say three of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the three of them is basically the diagonal line, and they are all three lefties, which is Calafiori,
Mm-hmm.
Skelly, and Saka.
Yep.
Free flowing football, fun to watch. It lifted the entire team up.
Mm-hmm. And the fans.
And the fans lifted the team lifted the fans.
Yeah, I would say the team lifted the fans first because...
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree because they came out with a fire.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a long time for me to say I've enjoyed watching an Arsenal game. And it's no surprise that from almost like this comes the Calafiori in the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we'll get to ratings at some point, but I'm going to give Mikel his kudos because we discussed it. It would have been really hard for him to bench Nketiah.
Correct.
Because of how well he's been playing defensively. But he realizes what Calafiori offers a team. And I think that's the reason why Calafiori will, when fit, will keep benching Nketiah. And that was why I was alluding to the fact last week to move him to center back and just...
Well, I disagree because there are certain games.
No, of course.
I can tell you now for free on Tuesday.
I know Calafiori is not playing on Tuesday.
He might play, but he's not starting.
Yeah, I know. Nketiah will start, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
I get that. I get personnel for different kind of games, different oppositions. I get all that. I'm just saying, that I've maintained all season long that our attacking is really just down to Calafiori,
True.
And it's kind of crazy. And I mean, that Mikel made two big calls today, benching Nketiah, who was the man of the match in our last game,
Yep.
And then finally cutting Zubimendi, cutting him. I won't say cutting, but like pulling him from the team. That has been something that has been, the fans have been calling for it for a couple of weeks now. He just needed to be pulled out of the firing line for a little bit. I mean, he comes off the bench, Zubimendi, and looks like a whole new player.
Yeah, because
he comes into no pressure.
He also gets to, we have to understand that Zubimendi did not get time to actually sit down and watch Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he got in the team, he got on the field.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very intelligent player. We can see that, and he's only going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
We also have to take in consideration the pace of the Premier League. He was coming in from Sociedad,
Mm-hmm.
La Liga, which has a very slow, tactical, technical style of play. So yes, he got to see the game, and he got to watch an Arsenal boy through and through, an academy product. play the way the Arsenal midfield wants to play and the way the fans want the midfield to play. And so maybe a light bulb turned on because as you said, he came on, no pressure, looked like a different player, played with a lot of freedom.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I'll go with Mendy, right? The issue really is, I mean, I get your point about him still needing, to really learn the Arsenal way. But what it really boils down to is that if he didn't start off so well, he wouldn't be judged so harshly now, right? So you can't say it took you this long to adapt because right off the gate you were adapted to us
True.
anyway,
True. He set a high standard for himself.
Exactly, exactly. So it's not a matter of him being unable to digest the way the team plays. He's just off form, and the thing about Skelly, I mean, Skelly played really well. In my ratings, I didn't give him like a super high rating, but he played well. And I just think, the thing about Skelly is that Skelly takes risks, you know, and he drives with the ball. And those are two things Mendy does not do. He's very
And
safe with the ball and doesn't drive with the ball.
Those were the two things Partey did.
Exactly, exactly. So Skelly just did what he normally does, and it looks good because it's the right thing for him to do, and that's the way he plays. So I'm not going to give him an extremely high praise per se in that way, but it was a good game. As like I said, he came on 3-0 up, no pressure, just kind of get in there and looks good, got forward very well. But ultimately, a good game, a real confidence building game, not only for the players, but for the fans. The players
now, let me ask you this question real quick, and let's get this monkey off our back.
Right.
Was it a penalty or was it not a penalty in the Atletico Madrid first leg?
100% a penalty based on precedence, right?
Okay.
Because of the first two he had given, you got to give that one because of those, if you take all three into account, that was the most serious one.
I agree. That was a penalty. He gave it. He went with his first instinct.
Yep.
But the Atletico Madrid fans pressured him and changed his mind.
Yeah.
Absolute disgrace. Was Ben White showing a penalty? There's an argument,
because it hit his thigh and hit his hand.
Exactly. So there's no consistency, and as Arteta rightly said, the margins are too thin. We can't. You cannot cost us a goal like that. When there's a lot at stake. But I'm glad we're both on the same page. That was a penalty.
Yeah, for sure it was. Just because based on the first two were, I mean, the one on Gyökeres was soft. The handball hit his thigh when it went up, and yeah, I know it wasn't amazing, huge, forceful contact on Eze, but it's contact, and is a stamp on the foot, which. It is what it is, a penalty all day. But, I mean, hopefully it doesn't cost us, right? Because going in 2-1 would have been much more comfortable, If we were up 2-1, I would already say we're done. Because Mikel will just play Carabao on Tuesday,
Right.
And get through. But, I will say, based on that game, and then based on the game the day before with PSG and Bayern, you have to say the best teams are in Champions League semifinals for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
All four teams are probably one of the best teams. Because our game with Atletico Madrid was quite open, and a lot of chances.
It was a good watch.
Game. A good watch. And I think the way that game went, and maybe we got to give credit to Simeone's team and Simeone himself, right? Because he chose to do that. He could have played defensively if he wanted to, but he chose to do that. And I think Arsenal had to step up to that level. And that led to this performance today against Fulham, right?
Maybe it helped us remember how to play.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have to remember, you sometimes you just got to go end to end. You know what I'm saying? And so for sure, it played a part. And then the result today, the only thing negative, and it's not really negative, and I could say I wish we could have scored more.
Yeah, your guys should have scored his hat trick.
I really don't think that this Premier League will come down to goal difference. I don't think so. I doubt it.
I hope not.
But either way, it would have been nice to score more goals. But all in all, you cannot, hate on a 3-0 win, 3-0 up at halftime. Great attacking play that first half. Controlled the game from start to finish for the most part. Saka back in the score sheet. Gyökeres 2 goals. I mean, all the haters out there, are gonna you have to eat, what's it
Your
called? Eat
words.
crow. Eat crow, right? For hating on Gyökeres because he's having a mediocre season by his standards, and he still has 21 goals.
21 goals. I think you said he was going to score 20 goals.
I
I
did
don't
say
know.
20, but
Yeah, I said 30, right?
I don't
Or did? Oh
remember.
no, I think I said 25 or 30. I don't even
Yeah,
remember.
we'll
No,
watch
actually,
it.
no. You said 15 goals.
No, I said 15 would be success,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought he would get 20.
Okay.
But I think we were talking about the Premier League though, maybe not all at all, because
Oh, okay.
he's at
Yeah, yeah.
14 Premier League, which is still good for fourth, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
First season. But now let me ask you this question: Miles Lewis Kelly
Mm-hmm.
or Zubimendi on Tuesday?
Zubimendi.
Why?
Just because it's going to be a more, dare I say, adult performance required, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to have to be very careful with Atletico. And
Yes.
Skelly's, I just said, he's very brave, right? That he'll get picked a few times. You can't trust those Champions League referees to give all those fouls that he always gets being knocked over. So
That's true.
I would start with Mendy. Um, Scully, if the game is going well, it can win Scully on ultimately. But he played well. But like I said, I don't think it's I mean, I think he should. I think if you play him plays with Mendy on Tuesday, you go back to Scully on the weekend, is what I would suggest, Just because we have to win those Premier League games and this Champions League games can be a bit tighter. But,
Yeah,
he's
that
played
makes sense.
well. He's played well. Credit to him. But obviously, I mean, I was surprised that Saka was pulled at halftime.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree with that
Well,
decision.
usually you let a player start the second half and then take him off at 60 minutes,
No, take him out on a high. It's a
Yeah.
psychological boost.
Hmm.
It keeps him buzzing and raring to go.
Yeah.
And it is also a psychological um, test and attack on our opponents.
Hmm.
Because they're like, oh wow, it seems like Saka is sharp. So they'll plan for him.
Hmm.
And we don't want to risk an injury, a knock, a
No, no, I
pull,
agree. I agree.
anything. So he looked good.
Hmm.
Could have easily been my man of the match, and he just played one half.
Hmm.
Pull him, let him rest, warm down tomorrow, ready to go on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Gyökeres, I think we've crowned him a few times his coming out game at Arsenal. We've mentioned a few times where he's played so well. You're like, this is his coming out game, But I think this game doesn't really like say it's his coming out game. I think this game is his cementing game, right?
Yeah, this game basically was the game to finally settle him into the
To
team and say,
cement him as a
yeah, and say
bona
welcome,
fide Premier League
welcome
striker.
to Arsenal.
Yep.
He took the challenge. He saw the impact of Kai Havertz in
Hmm.
this past few weeks, and he knew that there are levels to this.
Yep.
He needed to take it up a notch, and he did. And this would be a good segue to my man of the match, or rather my player ratings.
Right.
I'll
Hmm.
start with Raya. Raya, I give him a 7. I could have easily given him an 8, because the few times he was called on, he was in the right position.
Hmm.
But a 7 because he didn't do much. I mean,
Right.
we were not really tested.
I agree.
Uh, right back, Benny Blanco played much better today. Um,
He sorry to cut you off there, and I want us to discuss White a little bit. I mean, right now we're if we can get Timber back, I would give us a really good shot of winning the Champions League, right? For instance, but
mhm.
White is very clearly the weakest link right now in the team.
Of course,
Mhm.
and I'm sure he himself knows that.
Mhm.
Just given how consistent Timber has been
Yeah,
all season, so but I'll still give my Benny Blanco 7.
7. Okay.
They didn't concede. Saliba, Gabriel, 7 each.
Mhm.
Could have easily been 8, but they didn't concede. They didn't do much. They kept it solid. Kalaboom boom. I'll give him an 8. what an impact. He could have easily scored 2 goals.
Yep.
Had one disallowed. The other one, the goalie did not barely knew what he was doing when he saved that. A fluke save. So 8 for Calafiori.
Okay.
Skelly, I'll give him an 8
Okay.
because he's stepped up. First time playing in the midfield, starting with all the pressure, knowing that we're trying to chase the title, and he gave a game of his life and gave Arteta a headache basically now. So I'll give him an 8.
Okay.
Rice 8. I think Skelly gave him a little bit of confidence, to freedom to move room a little bit. Eze for me was pretty quiet. I liked his little touches and flicks here and there. So I'll give him a 7.
Okay.
Starboy, our superstar.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why he's the most expensive player on the team, and there's a reason why we've missed him a lot. You can see the spark and the attention he draws on himself, which frees up more spaces for the other players, and basically he lifts the other players too because they were all looking much better today.
Sure.
So I'll give him an 8.
Okay.
Could have easily been my man of the match.
Right.
Trossard looked very lively. Great assist.
Mm-hmm.
Great assist. It looked like he's back to the Trossard of the beginning of the season.
Yep.
So I'll give Trossard a 7.
Okay.
My man of the match, the star of the moment, 21 goals, connected with Saka very well. Enjoyed. Looks like there's a chemistry, building there. A little bit more relationship. Gyökeres, 9, man of the match for me.
All right. And anything for the bench players?
Yeah, the bench players.
Madueke, Zubimendi, Jesus, and Dalman.
Yeah, Dalman looked good, lively, spark. I'll give him a 7. He showed no fear.
Yep.
Jesus 6. Looks like he's chasing the game a little bit. Madueke just came in and just lively. I'll give Madueke a 6. Arteta.
Zubimendi, I give him anything?
Zuzu looked good. I'll give him a 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. I could have easily given him a 6, but it's a good day. He played well. I like the way he broke up one counter attack that they were about to start. So I'll give him a 7. Okay. Arteta nailed it. 9 for me. Took risk, made great decisions, great substitutions. I like the fact that he took out Saka at halftime. I like the fact that he made that decision to go with Skelly, Saucy Skelly, and so an all-round good day for the team, and basically the stadium was buzzing. The fans 10 over 10. It was an atmosphere.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I agree with most of those ratings actually. For me, I mean, I will say this, right? And I thought with Mikel, just he made the right calls today, right? Those were big calls, like I said, the Calafiori and Skelly, I think were the biggest calls of all. The second one I understand completely, but if you're Mikel at this point, right? It took me a while. I think I came to this conclusion a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to say it again, right? The drop off, that's a very harsh word. Jesus definitely needs to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm now going over to the Ben White probably has to go too.
Yeah. If how old is Ben White now? He's going to be 28.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know how it is.
It depends. If Ben White is going, then we're getting another Timber caliber.
Well, we were linked to Livramento yesterday.
I like Livramento as a baller, but if we're getting rid of Ben White, it should be an upgrade coming in, and I don't see Livramento as an upgrade to Ben White.
Oh, I think he is for sure. He's younger.
No, he's a good player. He's not a good defender.
Well, he is. He's a good right back. He gets forward really well.
He's a quality right back.
Yeah,
but he's not a good defender. Defensively, maybe he's a point ahead of Ben White.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I agree.
You see, but Timber defensively is at least 5 points ahead of Ben White.
Yeah, yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? So if we're getting a replacement for Ben White,
We should bridge that gap a little bit.
it should bridge that gap a little bit.
Fair enough. Okay. So I gave Raya 7. I gave Ben White a 6. He's still just not. I mean, there's been a few games now. I know he's been out for a while, so you got to say he's match fit now for sure. But he's just missing something. He's just not as technically as. I mean, it's weird to say of an entire back four, he's the least technical. That is weird to say,
But it's not coincidence that Ben White was playing today that Saka had the best game of his season.
Well, so in all fairness, they do play well together.
Exactly.
I will say that.
Exactly, and that counts. That counts for everything too.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
So I'm not. I'll keep Ben White, except I'm getting an upgrade.
All right. I gave Saliba and Gabriel both 7s. That's because they didn't face much. Gabriel, talking about bridging the gap, Gabriel is, to me, a better defender than Saliba, like by at least 2 points.
Well, it's because of the way he plays.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Saliba,
Gabriel is one of those players one of those people that when you see him, he always looks like he's working hard.
Yes.
Saliba, when you see him, he always looks like he's cool.
That's true.
That doesn't mean that that shouldn't discount his importance.
No. Because he's still a really good defender. I'm saying that the things that we used to see in him, those silky, calm moves. I mean, there's a little flash here and there.
It's flashy,
fewer and far between this season.
Yeah, this season was tough on everybody.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, and he's still young. He's 23.
Yeah.
So
all right, Calafiori, to me, again, if you're going to score 2 goals and give an assist, he'll be the man of the match because he is that role, that fluidity he gives. I mean, you can say how well Skelly played him, but Skelly's only playing that well because Calafiori is there, to give him that crutch, if you will. I gave him an 8. I gave Skelly a 7. I thought he played well. I wasn't particularly saying, Fulham's midfield isn't great, so I'm not going to, give him too much high mark. He played really well, looked confident, and drives the ball well. Rice a 7, Isaiah 7. Again, I thought Isaiah could have done more, but he was very tidy. He didn't lose the ball like he normally does a lot, and he kept the ball moving. I gave Bukayo Saka an 8. I thought he played well, really, really well. I mean, I think once the game started and he got on the ball early and he saw that what he was going to do is going to work, his confidence just ballooned from there. He just kept on doing it and ripping it up on the on the right there. Trossard, I mean, what a game for him. If that goal if Calafiori's goal wasn't chalked off, we're talking about a 2-assist game for him. And he just looked lively. He looked really sharp. Went about his business. Professional performance by him is all I can say. It was just really good to see him play that way. And of course, Gyökeres, man. I mean, you combine this performance today and tie it into that his cameo against Newcastle. You're like, whoa, he's ready. Was it Newcastle? Sorry, which game did Havertz get injured? Was it Havertz?
Yeah, Newcastle.
Okay, yeah. He is looking like he's ramping.
No. Atletico Madrid.
It was, right?
Yeah.
Whatever game it was that because he scored a penalty in Atletico. No, he started against Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
So he came on against Newcastle.
And
even that game off the bench, he looked really sharp. Really ran the ball down. Then Atletico Madrid gets the penalty and scores it, And then today, that's 3 really good games on the bounce for him. And he's looking hungrier. Like he's more determined, and he's welcoming these center back battles.
Yeah, because he's seen the competition. He's seen that Havertz is no scrub. Havertz is a classic player.
Yep. So he's definitely upped his game. A 9 for him. 2 goals and an assist. Could have had a hat trick. Had that 1-on-1 that he missed. But great performance. He's also my man of the match as well. Off the bench, Madueke. He's lost a little bit of what was making me excited early in the season, but he's still
young.
Decent. Yeah,
he's still young.
Zubimendi, we said, came on and had a really had a good game, but no pressure.
Yeah,
you could see he was just better with no pressure, and that just tells me that we should be in the market for another CDM this summer. That's the way I see
Well,
it.
it will get rid of Noga because Skelly's playing midfield next season.
Yeah, and
Sure.
yeah. So I'm okay with that. Jesus came on, didn't look. I mean, he always works hard, but man, we need
We need to upgrade.
upgrade. Yeah,
Alvarez is definitely an upgrade.
yeah. And then Dalman came on a live wire. Always looks good. Gave him a 6 as well when he came on. Gave Mikel an 8. Like I said, good calls to make the changes. Resting the players necessary. You know, Rice got taken off early. So did Saka. You got to look and say, yeah, we're looking ready for that Tuesday game. I really hope we can win that game. That game on Tuesday, Atletico Madrid. Being in the Champions League final is going to be the only impetus and catalyst for these players to win all the Premier League games.
No, we're gonna win on Tuesday.
Well, I'm just saying it needs to happen for us.
I'm not even panicking. We're gonna beat Atletico.
Okay.
We could have beaten them in their house, and that was without us even playing the way we played today.
True. Because my fear is if we don't go through to that final, it's going to affect the confidence of this team. It's pretty fragile.
I don't see us not winning at the Emirates.
Okay, so what is your prediction for that game?
Huh?
What is your prediction?
2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 2-1.
Okay.
And I think we'll go up 2-0, then concede a goal. And then
without that penalty, that the dodgy penalty, they didn't have they barely had a sniff on us.
Well, they hit the post.
Apart from what's his name? Yeah.
They hit the post and Lukman missed 2 good chances.
Yeah, well, we're gonna beat them.
Okay, well, I feel comfortable too. I'm just saying, that's what I expect. So 2-1 is my prediction. And then after that, we're back on the weekend against West Ham, who took a beating today.
Yeah.
And I really hope that they would have won today, so they could feel more comfortable about surviving the drop and give us an easier game on the weekend. But now they're going to fight for their lives.
Well, that's the psychological part, but the footballing part is good they lost because it makes it harder for them. Their momentum is down. They're off form.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all in all,
and what's your prediction for that game? Well, we said we're going to shoot a video after the Champions League, but we had scheduling conflicts. Are we going to shoot a video? Yeah, let's not keep making promises.
In our first Champions League final potentially in 20 in how many years?
Yeah,
we should do a video after that. So we can make it work.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can talk about the prediction for that game at the weekend. But otherwise, want to kind of throw it out there, guys. Keep supporting us. Like and share. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your buddies about this one podcast called Arsenal on My Mind. Help us spread the word. We really love doing this, and we want to keep doing this for as long as we can, as long as Arsenal keeps behaving themselves.
Even if they don't behave themselves, we're here. But now that we have momentum, let's keep the momentum going. Let's keep growing the channel. Share, like, subscribe, and keep the comments coming in.
Absolutely. And well, until next time, guys, after the Champions League semifinal second leg, keep Arsenal on your mind.
Peace out.
Under floodlights, the fans align. In red and white, they always shine. With every pass, it feels divine. Arsenal's on my mind. From hybrid days to Emirates grand, each match a symphony perfectly planned. With every goal, we take our stand. Arsenal's on my mind. Oh, Arsenal, you never fail through rain and sun. Our steadfast sail